I don't even know where to start. I mean, obviously, Chiefs win 42-36, hosting their fourth AFC Championship game in a row. Phenomenal game, absolutely incredible. Props to Josh Allen. I want to throw that out there first. I know this is Chiefs podcast, but he played absolutely phenomenal for most of the nights. He stepped up when I was wondering if he was going to. The times in the past, Kansas City's played them. If he got under pressure, he kind of folded at times. This game, he stepped up and he did what he needed to do.
Yeah, and I can at least, here we are, and we're recording a little bit more than an hour after the game, and at least give you a flavor for what's going on here at Arrowhead. People are still slowly getting out in the parking lots. It was a late departing crowd. Until just a few minutes ago, the Arrowhead scoreboard, had up the message, letting the few people who are still here know they're going to be hosting a fourth straight AFC Championship game next Sunday. That'll be first time in history that's happened. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm in the visiting radio booth, which would normally obviously be the Bills crew today. Right next door is the Chiefs radio group, and I know Dan Israel and I think Josh Klingler and a few of the others are still over there. And normally they're out of here this time. By this time, they've thrown it to the studio, and everything's going on downstairs. And not today. I think everybody's savoring this win for a little bit longer. I think the traditional rule is right midnight, and then you have to move on. So they got, by my clock, about 97 minutes left. You can celebrate this win, and this team will probably get the most out of that time that they can.
And I will tell you this right now. I've said this to a couple people already tonight. If they produce a DVD of this game, I am buying it. I do not care. Chiefs, if you're listening, go make this game available on DVD. I will buy it. I want to be able to rewatch this game whenever I want. Just absolutely phenomenal game on both sides. And yes, we have questions about the defense, but we can get to that in a second.
I'll one up you even. Folks, you've seen Matt's books, Showtime, the story of the first Super Bowl championship. Matt, you need to switch over, write a screenplay so that when you make the movie, I can rewatch this. Okay, that's what I'm looking for next.
Well, we were some of us in the press box talking about it during the whole fourth quarter and overtime. If you scripted this, you couldn't sell it. Nobody's going to buy this. This is outrageous. It's completely and totally unbelievable.
This game should go down in history as the 13-second game, right?
That's a good name for it. I'm sure that or Grim Reaper are probably the two big names being thrown around right now on Twitter.
Yeah, can you explain that quote, Matt? Because that was phenomenal. It needs to be said.
Yeah, it's not entirely clear that it actually was said or it's Andy Reid coming up with a good line. But yes, when Andy Reid in the post-game press conferences was asked what was his message to Patrick Mahomes with 13 seconds left, he said, "If it's grim, be the Grim Reaper."
You'll be able to find that on a T-shirt in the RGR store tomorrow, folks.
Yes. Yes, you're going to be seeing, I think, a lot of T-shirts with Patrick Mahomes' face and a scythe and all sorts of things.
As you should. That was insanity. And I have to say this, because he's been so clutch all year long and he's been so good all year long, I am so glad Butker got a chance to redeem himself at the end of the game.
Yeah, if the Chiefs don't win this game, you're certainly pointing to Harrison Butker as the GOAT. So the fact that he got a chance to get back out there and put this game back into overtime, that was big because now it's a footnote. I mean, the game that Harrison Butker had, the miss and hitting the upright on the extra point, with getting the chance for redemption. Yeah, I mean that's not even one of the top 20 storylines out of this game.
Yeah, and it sure looked like that kick could have been good from 60.
Yeah, and it was really odd because even watching Butker during warmups, I did not think that he had the normal leg that he usually has. I mean, it wasn't a very windy day at Arrowhead. The conditions, even temperature-wise, in the 30s, I mean, that didn't seem like it was that adverse of conditions. But his max kick was 59. He missed a couple from 56, I think one from 57. Hit another one from 56 in the direction that he actually missed the field goal. Kind of perplexing because there wasn't really anything to explain it, but it just didn't look like that through most of the game that Butker had the leg. Even I thought on kickoffs that they were a little bit shorter than usual. So I don't know if that was weather or turf conditions or, maybe he's nursing something, but I didn't think he was quite 100% tonight, at least as far as the kicks go. But in the clutch, the guy gets it done.
One other guy that is not 100% is Tyrann Mathieu, and I felt like his absence due to that concussion protocol was clearly what was ailing this team throughout the night, but particularly down the stretch with the lapses that you saw another singular receiver go off on this team for 200+ yards and umpteen thousand points. Matt, how key is getting Tyrann Mathieu back, for this revenge game against the Bengals, who also had a receiver do that, and even if they can look to the point where they win that game, to trying to play the Super Bowl with Tyrann Mathieu?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think there's two notable, people coming out of this game that the Chiefs really, really need. One's Tyrann Mathieu, and the other one's Rashad Fenton. When you're missing both of those guys, and you're you're needing to rely on a little bit more of Dan Sorensen. Armani Watts played tonight, and honestly, I mean, at first glance, I didn't see that he did anything, out of line. I mean, I think he played pretty solid. You didn't hear his name a lot. But there was
always seemed to be in position. Sorry,
there was no doubt that other than Cole Beasley was there for a while, the one reliable threat that the Bills had, and Gabriel Davis obviously was open all night long. But Davis was often working against Hughes, and that was a rough night for Mike Hughes against Gabriel Davis. For the most part, Travis Ward and L'Jarius Sneed were working on Stephon Diggs, and you did not hear Stephon Diggs' name all night long. They absolutely took him out of play.
7 yards, was it?
Yeah, I think it was 3 catches for 7 yards.
How about Dawson Knox too?
And Dawson Knox was completely shut down. There was a couple of guys working on him, but yeah, if Mike Hughes, you need to give him a hug because he needs it, because that was a rough night for him on Gabriel Davis.
Absolutely rough night for him. I'm really curious. Did you hear anything updates on Tyrann Mathieu? I know he's in the concussion protocol.
No, we unfortunately didn't get any injury updates. I think Andy was, like I said, just still under the spell of the game. Didn't even get any questions about injuries because we had a lot of other things to ask about. But Tyrann is obviously really the only notable injury that came out of it. Jaron Reed, Travis Ward both left the game briefly and went back in. So other than Mathieu and the existing injuries this team already had, there doesn't look like there's anything new that's of significant note.
And when Ward went down, I held my breath because that got really dicey for a bit there.
Yeah,
he played phenomenal tonight.
The way that he has played, especially the last couple of weeks, that's a guy that this team cannot lose right now.